We have to find Ruby.
The wreckage went through the room ahead.
Captain Saki Fua,
Archon Larson.
take Ruby to the infirmary and keep her safe.
Yes, sir!
Lynn, I need an explanation from you. The artificial Crystamax has caused many security incidents. I hope now you can see how this thing doesn't just affect you and Ruby, but all of us.
Archon Larson, I will give you all the information I have, but I have a request.
You can give me your demands, but I can't promise anything.
I need you to give me your word that you'll assure Ruby's safety after hearing what I have to say. Ruby is not really a human. She's the result of an experiment trying to fuse humans and gray space entities.
What? Ruby... she's...
An artificial gray space entity. Just like what Dr. Clive did.
To a certain extent, yes. Ruby and the artificial gray space entity in the listener testing ground are the same. That artificial Crystamax may be attracted to Ruby. Do you remember who Rubilia is, Archon Larson?
Dr. Rubilia, the first supervisor of Project Listener. That kid is a true genius. If it weren't for the accident, she could have achieved much and given much to Meroria.
An accident?
2 years ago, in a routine collection mission on the surface, Rubilia went missing in a gray space entity attack. Her project was then handed off to Dr. Clive, who used to be her assistant.
Wait, what happened to Dr. Rubilia took place 2 years ago. And that's also when Ruby appeared in Meroria. Ruby? Rubilia?
Rubilia used her own genetic code to fuse with the gray space entity in the experiment. That's how Ruby was born.
Fusing human DNA with that of the gray space entity is directly forbidden by Archon Harunobu. What Dr. Rubilia did was... madness!
Since her father died, Rubilia's been running those forbidden experiments in her secret lab. I only learned of it when I found her journal by accident. I put a stop to her experiments and sealed off the lab. Out of many concerns, I didn't make it public. Instead, I exiled Rubilia out of Meroria.
You mean she didn't go missing because of the gray space entity attack, but it was by your orders?
Yes. I only wanted this thing to go away at the time. Rubilia's experiments were too extreme. I didn't know what would happen if they went public, so I leveraged my position to conceal it all.
If Rubilia really did create a superior abyssant with human intelligence and in human form, but outside of human control, it would be a great disaster for all mankind. Lynn, how many like Ruby are out there? Are there any in this city that remain undiscovered?
Archon Larson, Ruby is the only test subject left alive. She possesses a human mind. I can assure you that she'll not lose control and become a monster and threaten the safety of everyone.
Even if you can prove that Ruby doesn't pose a threat, there's been no change in her situation after she absorbed that artificial Crystamax. We cannot be certain if she'll be affected or controlled by the Crystamax. Lynn, Executor, and Shirley, please stay here. I'll decide the next course of action after they run a full checkup on Ruby.
Larson, I only wish for Ruby to be treated as a human, not a monster locked up in a cage and studied in a lab.
I have my own thoughts on this, but I can assure you that Ruby will be safe. Captain Sakifua, with me.
Yes.
Ruby is still in a coma. We did a full exam. Dr. Clive is assessing Ruby's situation. But he and Lynn, there must be...
Yes, even though I sealed off the lab.
Archon Larson has told me all about it. Ms. Lin, it seems like you've kept quite a number of things from us.
Tianlong, Miss Lyra.
Lin, long time no see.
Miss Lyra will remain in Meroria to assist us with this investigation. Tianlong will go with you to the restricted experiment zone. Lin, do not disappoint us again.
Oh, you got Archon Larson so mad?
If you have time to chit-chat, why don't you contribute to planning our next move?
Huh. Looks like we're the ones tasked with the special op. Captain Lin, what dangerous mission will we be going on this time?
Why so serious? We're just investigating an abandoned lab, aren't we?
Huh? Archon Larson recalled me for an emergency situation, and it turned out to be such a simple mission?
Your mission is not just to assist with the investigation, but to keep an eye on me. I am now in your charge.
Miss Lin, that's not a nice thing to say. I'm only here to help you complete the mission, and that's all.
Miss Lin, what do we have to know about that lab?
There are no security systems installed in the lab, but it holds a great number of gray space entity samples. The samples should either be in stasis or deceased, but we really don't have enough information. I have relayed the lab coordinates to you. Make sure you've received them. If there are no further questions, let's head out.